Hey everyone, welcome back to the Visual Festation channel. I'm doing an audio show today with my good friend Sherry Hollis, and the show is called "The Ways That Spirit Communicates to Us." And it's this is a class we taught on before, but for some reason the I never hit the record button. So by popular demand, we're going to do it again. So Sherry, welcome to the Visual Festation channel. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. My pleasure to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Well, hey, let's just we're gonna jump right into it, and if for some of you folks who haven't read my second book, The Seven Master Keys for Successful Deliberate Creation, this might sound a little bit out there for you. So you may need to listen to it twice if this is information you've never heard before. But essentially, in your life experience, you're not here by yourself. You have helpers in the spirit realm that are here to assist you with everything in your life that you need help with. Because when spirit put us here, or we came in, it's a very challenging experience. Let me just put it that way, because you kind of land on Earth, and you really don't have the owner's manual on how to create and live the life of your dreams. And for instance, back in 2015, I was up in North Carolina, and I was doing some heavy duty meditations. And one of the things that was really cool was I was actually introduced to my spirit guides. And from there, I learned more. I actually met my guardian angels. And essentially, you have spirit helpers. Spirit guide, excuse me, I lump them all into spirit helpers, and for me that includes spirit guides, angels, guardian angels, and archangels. And spirit guides are like pretty much your primary ones. They're there all the time to help you. They're always available. All you have to do is ask. And one of the things about the spirit guides is that they won't interfere in your life unless you ask them to, because they're not here to you know um, interfere unless you want help with something. So if you ask, they will answer. It's just one of those things that they won't meddle in your life if you don't request their help. They're they're there if you need them, but if you don't ask for their help, like I said, they're not going to intervene in your life. So, hey, Sherry, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, Peter, I agree with you. I used to wonder why certain people, this was before I awakened in that way and understanding how things work like that. I was like, well, why is God only speaking to certain people? And why are the angels only speaking to certain people? Like, what's going on? Like, when are they gonna talk to me? And it was not until I started to ask them to intervene in my life that they started to show up. And I was like, wow, so you guys have been here all along and you didn't tell me, so it was pretty cool to understand that they were always there and they were just waiting for me to invite them into my life. You know,
Wow.
that was pretty amazing. I was like, this is wonderful.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things that for me, Sherry, was, I mean, I've been doing like my hour power, doing my spiritual thing for a number of years. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, probably 13, 14 years. And and one of the weird things was, before I did this deep guided meditation, um, I kind of never really connected. It was one of these things where one of the things that confused me was the at a prior time back probably around 20 years ago, around there, I tried doing the spirit guide thing on a guided meditation from my friend Jaden Sterling's stuff. And what I didn't realize was, w- when I see my spirit guides, primarily they show up as colored energy. And the three ones, one has red energy, one has blue energy, and one has green energy. And they were there. I just didn't recognize that that's what it looked like.
Mm.
And when they did the deep guided meditation, I actually saw their faces, which was super cool.
Mm.
And you know, the connection was made there. And I think the difference was because the first meditation was only like 15 minutes, and this deep meditation was about an hour and a half. So it really
Wow, you were
opened up
diving
those.
deep.
Yeah, it was a deep dive for sure. And all that information that they shared with me, um, totally it gave me a whole new appreciation about how spiritual we truly are and how much help we have, that's available. And it's just like, they're here, they're here to help you have an amazing life. Know that they're there, trust that they're there, and reach out to them. And no, Sherry, the on when do you, how long ago was it when you kind of made that connection? Because I mean, I must have been around, what's it now, like
Yeah.
2022.
Well,
I was like 50 years
yeah,
old. Yeah.
right. Well, for a number of years, I was aware of them, and I was aware of them in other people's lives. I wasn't aware of them in my life until about 15 years ago.
Wow.
Instead of having actual proof of them showing up in my life. And it was just my whole world opened up because I allowed them in and I said, I want you to show me everything. Don't hold back on anything. And I remember moving to the beach. And that's when, like, oh my God, so many mystical experiences happened. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And so I started taking pictures of the sky for whatever reason. I don't know why. I was just taking pictures of the sky. And people would show up in the sky, all kinds of people. And I'm not talking about like just regular humanly people. I'm talking about people that were half human, half animals. Some people were regular people. Some people were people that looked familiar, like I knew them. So all kinds of people, and they were overlapped over each other in the sky. And they showed up in my pictures, and I would show my friends and my family, and they were like, no way, no way. At first, they didn't see it, and I showed them how to see it because I started to realize that I was able to see a little bit more deeply than other people that were viewing the pictures. And for instance, there was one picture, my girlfriend, she took a picture of herself. And I said, wait a minute, do you realize what's in your pictures? And she's like, what? And I said, you have fairy people behind you. And she said, what? And I said, yes, they're all in the leaves. And I said, yeah, that's the fairy people. And they were little brown leaves, but they were the shapes of all different kinds of little people in those leaves that no one would have picked up had I not shown them it. So it was just amazing. So as we continue, I'll share some more stories of different things that happened to me, but that's one particular incident
Wow.
that it just opened up my world, and I just had a whole lot of fun with them because I've always believed in that kind of stuff. I've always read about those kinds of things, but I never like started to experience it on a grand scale until about 15 years ago, when I definitely invited them into my world physically.
Wow. That's powerful. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, that's cool. And that's one of the things too, everyone, is everyone sometimes gets the information in a different manner.
yeah,
So just because you don't see the faces in the sky, like Sherry did, don't think there's anything wrong with you.
no,
Because you know, there's a some of the ways the spirit communicates to us. That was like, for Sherry, that was a visual. So basically we have visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and cognitive. We're going to go through those. Um,
yeah,
one of the big,
yeah.
yeah, for
That's a
me.
good point, Peter, that you're highlighting that because people think it's just one way, and it's really not. There's a plethora of ways
Oh,
that spirit shows up for us.
exactly. And one of the things I've really noticed, Sherry, I'm sure this is true in your life, is that once you become aware of the communication, more comes in. A lot more
Oh,
comes
yeah.
in, you know,
Yeah.
because it's
That's
like,
right.
yeah, the
And
communication's there. And and one of the things I found in my experience is that the more I listen, the more communication I get because they know I'm listening and they're like,
That's
"Hey, well, yeah, we'll give you all we can handle."
oh, they
And
get excited when you're listening.
oh,
And I like to tell people a lot that you're not going to get information, you're not going to be privy to information that's not at your level or that meaning that you're not ready for. So
right.
you're ready, it's going to show up and it's going to blow your mind. you know?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because it's and sometimes you really, we're all on a spiritual journey, and sometimes a lot of this information may be new to people, and some people might be saying, "I don't, this sounds kind of crazy." Well, you know, believe me, it's not. And one of the biggest ways for me, Sherry, um, on the visual side, is I get animals in my dreams, like all the time. And
Hmm.
I started getting them once I got a book that a friend of mine gave me called The Animal Spirit Guide by Stephen
Yeah.
Farmer. And
Yes. Yes.
yeah, and get if you want to talk about numbers, guys, I right when COVID hit, all of a sudden I started getting a lot of a lot of spirit communication in my dreams. And through this last night, I've had, get this, I've had 123 different types of animals in my dreams
Hmm.
and a total of 733 instances.
Wow.
That's a lot. And so,
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy. But the thing is, Sherry, it's like every time I have one in my dream in the morning, the first thing I'll do in my hour of power is I'll write down what the animals were. And then I'll go to I'll reference the Animal Spirit Guide book and read the description. There's like four examples of what it could mean, and one of them
Mhm.
resonates with you, and that's the right one. That's the message.
Mhm.
And sometimes, Sherry, I've had like as many as like seven animals in a dream,
Hmm.
and it's like and sometimes it's like it's so intense. Like part of it was, I remember this one time I was riding a horse, so the horse is an animal, and I rode by some raccoons on the side of the trail, and then I went by a bison or something, and there were like a couple others. So it was like the dream was like, there was a series of messages in there. It was kind of like,
Yeah.
obviously like in code. So once I
Yeah.
wrote down all the stuff that I was seeing, um, I had the message, and it's just
Yes.
like, and it's powerful, and the stuff is
It's
spot
really
on.
great. It's a great thing.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's funny because what you'll also realize is that there's a lot of synchronicities between you and other people that are on a similar frequency as yourself because you start to see things along the same lines. Like yourself, I had read Farmer's books a while ago, and then I met you through your books, and then you mentioned them. So it kind of reminded me of when I read them, and I was like, "Oh my God, let me go look at them again." You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So it's just an amazing magical journey that you embark upon when you open up your mind to receiving more information.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes the information, and one of the things too. Well, I'm a I'm a business owner with my wife, and one of the things that came through mo- the uh, the most out of all those dreams I recorded, and the animals I recorded in the dreams was I almost every night, Sherry, I have a dog in the dream, and
Wow.
and the meaning is just keep your faith strong no matter what's going on in your life. So that's
Hmm.
one of those things, guys. It's like, don't get caught up in appearances because on the earth plane, in when you're living the reality, sometimes stuff just looks absolutely crazy scary.
Oh my
But yeah,
goodness.
but
That's the truth.
yeah, we're just going through it. And the thing that was great about having the support from my spirit helpers when all these scary times are going on for our business during COVID, is it really made it a lot easier for me to get through it because it was just like this too shall pass kind of thing. And my
Yeah.
spirit helpers was just like, hey, keep your faith strong. everything's going to work out fine.
That's
And
right.
that was awesome to have that kind of support. Um, so whenever you run into challenges in your lives, ask your guys for help and
That's right.
with information,
That's right.
because
It's, I mean, it's extremely powerful, because it redirects your thoughts. And like
oh,
you said earlier, it lets you know that you're definitely not alone and that there's a reason for everything happening. Nothing is just happening just to happen. Even the things that seem like misfortunes are actually something that's helping you to get closer to a goal or a mission that you are supposed to embark upon. So, but that takes practice to practice that high level of thinking where you start to understand that. You start to realize, oh my God, that's why they say don't be fooled by appearances, right? Because the outside circumstances can convey to you that everything's going wrong when everything really isn't going wrong. Everything's going right. They're just falling into the places where they should be, but you have to be patient and you have to endure until the test of time. And the test of time is the thing that looks like it's going crazy. That's the test,
oh, oh,
because you
yeah,
sit with that,
yeah,
you know.
exactly. In the
But it's an illusion. It's an illusion.
right,
You,
right, and the thing too, I want to share with everyone because Sherry just like really just hit something, right? The whole time thing, well, it's like if you get into the mindset that, because you get caught up in appearances and you think that's how it's going to be, and
Mhm.
you start having fear. What happens
Mhm.
is that your time in that spot it gets longer because
Yeah,
when you
that's
start
right.
thinking, yeah, you start thinking it's happening to me instead of for me.
That's
Well,
right.
the to me is you get into the victim mentality, and the only thing you can be is in the victim mentality is a victim. So you got it. If you find yourself going down that road, you got to turn around and go back because
Oh yeah.
you don't want to hang out in that place.
Yeah,
It's not a
you'll
good one.
block yourself, and like Peter's saying, you'll delay your progress, you know.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The no, Sherry. Another thing for me too, right? Not just having animals in my dreams, but I've also had some wild experiences with animals. In physicality. Like, I remember one time I was in our business. We were trying to make the decision whether or not to um, terminate some employees that needed to be terminated, and we were trying to figure it out. And I'll never forget. I walked out the front door of the house, and I'm seeing like I'm not making this. I must have seen like 26 rabbits running around crazy in the yard. I've never
Mm,
seen a rabbit before in the yard. Now I get this
mm,
26 of them running around the neighborhood, and I'm like, I looked in the spirit guide book, right? And the thing that connected to me was, progress will come in leaps and bounds.
mm,
So what happened was
mm.
we got rid of the bad apples, and business like it was it didn't miss a beat. Everything worked
Yeah,
perfectly.
you created a space for something better to come in that
Yeah.
space.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I remember another time I was I was Rob and I we were hiking out in Colorado, and we were on this fire road. It was like a wider trail. And long story short, I looked up and there's this giant hawk like flying like right at my head. And I'm like, is he gonna hit me? And it was just went right, we just went right over. I ducked. That's how intense it was, you know. And it was one of those deals where it's just like you basically the message was you're getting too caught up in the details. Stand back from the picture. And
Mm,
I was trying to figure something out. I don't recall what it was. This is several years ago, but
yeah,
it's like but it's like I've seen the animals, and when you see animals like acting like totally out of character, if that makes any sense, that's a sign.
oh
Look,
yeah.
you're getting communication. Look at it,
Mm.
and
It's just a wonderful thing. And it helps you to stay connected and it helps you to stay focused, and it helps you to realize things are not always what they seem to be, and
oh,
to,
totally,
yeah, and
totally.
to be a little bit more light when things happen. walk around so heavy, you know.
Oh, exactly. And that, the, to reinforce, I say this all the time, but you really need to live from everything that's happening for you. Because like
Yeah,
Sherry said, nothing happens by accident. There's no coincidences, there's no accidents. Everything happens perfectly.
yeah.
Um, and what,
But you know what it is, Peter? I think what makes it difficult for people is that they don't understand the intricacies of the in-between stuff. And meaning the in-between stuff means that we're all here for a purpose. So because spirit, the universe, source, God, whatever you want to call higher consciousness, is here for to help us with our mission because it knows our mission. Every single thing that's happening in our lives is trying to bring us closer to that mission. So when you see those crazy things happening, you know, the main thing is like Peter stated earlier, he has a daily practice. I do myself for many years. I've had a spiritual practice every morning. And so what happens in that is that you're able to raise your vibration to a certain level so that when things are happening that look crazy, you're able to have a better coping mechanism to deal with it because of the fact that your vibration's already raised. So you're seeing things from a higher perspective that you would not have if you didn't have those spiritual disciplines and practices.
oh, yeah,
That's the key because we're all being moved somewhere, you know, and that's closer to our mission. So see it that way, then you'll have a different way of looking at things when things are going so-called going wrong, because they're really not going wrong.
yeah, sometimes, I know as crazy as it sounds, it's like sometimes you got to go through some crazy um interim parts of your life to get to, like, basically it's like sometimes you got to go through the meat grind to get to the other side where everything is great. But
That's right.
but when you're in the grinder, everything seems like it's not working at all. But below the surface, it's working perfectly.
Uh-huh.
You just don't know it because you don't
That's
see it.
right. That's right. Yeah, that's why there's a wonderful scripture that talks about that. It talks about the race is not to the swift in so many words, but it says, but to he that can endure the test of times. So when you're about to go to another level spiritually, like a higher perspective, you're always tested. You're always tested because there's something greater in you that's trying to come to the surface. So there's a test with that. And that test is, will you, in the face of adversity, in the face of a challenge, in the face of things going wrong, will you give up? Or will you not believe that God is there for you? You understand? So the test is your faith. That's what's really being tested.
Perfect, perfect, Sherry. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just, without challenges, you don't grow, and you need to,
Right.
if you don't continually grow, then you go the other way. You have negative growth. Your life starts like not working like the way you want it. It just keeps getting worse and worse. But you know what? It's all you. It's just like, what are you thinking? Good thoughts? You think, do you have faith, or you not have faith and you think, somehow God's punishing you? Well, um,
Right.
if you think God's punishing you, then you're going to see your life get worse. But
Oh, yeah.
it's not God, it's you. You're the one doing it,
Yeah.
and living
Yeah.
through it. Hey, another thing I wanted to talk to you about, because you said this in another show, Sherry, was about how the universal language is numbers. You want to talk a little
Yeah.
bit about that?
Oh, yeah. The sacred geometry. It's like what do you call it? There's a code. What is it? The Fibonacci code, I believe it is. Meaning the symbology of nature is found in everything, that design of nature. So it's like even with us, when we're born, there's certain numbers around us, certain mathematical codes that are part of our genetic imprint. part of who we are as an individual. And it can be seen by clairvoyance, and it can be picked up. It's like in the field of the universe that our imprint is found in the universe, in codes and in numbers, what they call sacred geometry. And it's just an amazing, beautiful thing, because you're able to read your life, through numbers.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, it's just bearing witness to who you are. Who we are does make an imprint on the universe in more ways than we can realize. And numbers is one way in which we imprint and put our impressions on the universe, and it gives us back the feedback of what's going on in our lives, what's going on in our minds, our bodies, and our souls. So it's just really, really powerful.
Oh, that's cool. The one of the things that for me is it's funny. I started getting numbers coming in, like for instance, like one time in a dream, I had a series of like 5 ones. I saw them glowing in the sky,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah,
in a dream, and I'm like, I gotta
right.
remember that when I wake up. And other times too, it's like when I'll have a dream, Sherry, and I'll be like looking at my iPhone in my dream, and then
Yeah,
there's a number, like usually it's like a 4-digit number, and it's
right.
just like, remember that number in the,
Yes,
and so,
yes,
so it's then what I do is I look it up on Joanne Wamsley's Angel Numbers website, and
right.
we'll put a description in the bottom of that, but you can just Google that, and she basically has the definition of like every series of almost all the numbers up to like around 5,000 and the different meanings of it. I mean, it must have taken her an incredible amount of time to put it together, but I'm telling
Yeah,
you, it's amazing.
it truly is.
Yeah.
Numbers are in everything, like I said earlier. I know for me, I grew up, um, 18 years of my life, I lived at 111 Berkeley Place.
Oh,
What's interesting is I have some friends who I call my soul sisters, and they live directly around the corner from me. They lived one house over. We almost completely shared a backyard. They were just one house over, directly around the corner. Their apartment, their house number was 122 Lincoln Place. So it's almost the same variation of 111.
mm,
Came to understand later on was that that's a code. And it symbolized also the fact that we were soul groups. So the numbers correspond to soul groups as well. So it's just really, really powerful. Even people's birth dates are very symbolic to those numbers. They can tell a story about that individual based on their soul and what their soul came to do. That purpose is written in those numbers. So that's how powerful numbers are.
wow, that's cool. Yeah, that's the thing too. Once you start operating it and you start paying attention and you start noticing things, that's when you start seeing all the synchronicities
That's right.
in your life. I mean, honestly, I mean, goodness, the other this past week actually, Sherry, I was 'cause you're gonna love this one. I'm a big guy for the number 1111 being
Yeah,
that's an energy gateway.
yeah,
I was driving down. I wasn't on the highway, but I was on a busy road, and I went by one of those billboards that changes. It flips, and it had the time on there, and it was exactly 11:11 in like 18-foot numbers. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm just like, oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that one. You know,
yeah.
and that.
Yeah, my daughter and I, we were driving from New York to Texas because I now live in Texas, and numbers were following us everywhere. We were making a mental note of all of these numbers, and we knew exactly what they meant because we follow the numbers for so long that we know the meanings of most of the numbers now.
Oh wow! Without
So
looking
it
it up,
becomes,
that's cool.
yeah, it's a lot of fun to follow those numbers. And sometimes whatever you're thinking on, those numbers will come as confirmation to whatever you were thinking on. It could be a good thought or a bad thought, and you'll get those numbers for confirmation.
Oh yeah, no,
So it's pretty cool.
that's the thing. Once you start you noticing you notice it because all of a sudden it's not getting lost in the background. It's right comes to the forefront, and
Right,
yeah, and for me also, it's like another way spirit communicates to me is through like sound. Because it's like
right.
one of the things I know we talked about this before, but lately it's like I get chimes on my like in my head
Yes,
at night when I'm trying to sleep, and it's just like it sounds like a text message came into to my phone. Well,
yes,
it's like well, my phone is on vibrate, so I didn't hear
yeah,
it. And then I was like, I'll wake up and I'll see what time it is, and say say it's 5:55 in the morning. I mean, that's a
yeah,
powerful message. So I just I make a note of it on my phone, and
yeah,
like go back to sleep. And I keep track of this just like I do the animal Sherry. So
yeah.
I'll write down the chime, and honestly, sometimes I've gotten as many as 15 in one night.
Wow,
And
that's
yeah,
heavy.
and
That's
what's
heavy.
yeah, I'm serious. And one of the challenges is when you get that many chimes, you wake it up quite a bit. So the next
Yeah,
morning you're
you
like,
are. It's
yeah,
breaking your sleep a bit.
yeah, but I'd rather have less sleep and more information in my life.
Yeah,
And a lot of
yeah,
time, what they're confirming is the message is a lot of times the message is the same and it's being repeated because
yeah.
they want to make it louder and
Oh, yeah.
bring it to the forefront more.
That's
Um,
right.
yeah,
And sometimes what it is you're working on something, because I have a lot of projects that I'm working on. So they know what I'm working on. So they're trying to give me an extra piece of the puzzle, the piece to the puzzle of the project that I'm working on.
oh
And they're like,
sure.
"Larry, aren't you working on blah, blah, blah?" So I'll wake up. Sometimes I'll wake up, it'll be 3:33 in the morning. And 3:33 is a very powerful sound. That's the Ascended Masters number. So they'll be trying to give me information about something that I was working on. And I'll wake up out of my sleep just to get that message. And
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh my God, thank you so much. And I'll write it down just like Peter. I've done that for years, where I'll immediately, because I keep my journal by my bed,
Hmm.
immediately I'll write it down. And I'll try and go back to sleep. Sometimes I can't go back to sleep. And I'll find that when I can't go back to sleep, it's because they're giving me a whole lot for a
Mm.
period of time. So it might be 2-3 hours that I'm up from 3:33 on until it's time for me to get up. And then other times I just write it down and I am able to go back to sleep. But later on, they'll show me what they wanted me to know about that particular number. But I always make a note of it, like Peter.
Oh yeah. And for everyone who's listening to the show, the more you pay attention, the more you write down the information, the more information you're going to get because they now you're listening, and they want to help you. Sometimes I've had this happen too. Is sometimes I hear my name being called in my sleep, you know,
Yeah,
and I'll wake up and it'll be like like you said, 4:44,
yeah,
something really powerful. Um,
yeah,
yeah, it's funny too. I was just thinking about this. Sometimes I'll hear the the name of an animal like um hippopotamus or something like that. I'm just giving an example because it's like sometimes it seems like my angels, my spirit guides, they know I didn't understand what the animal was. Oh, here's a perfect example, Sherry. The other night, probably it was last week, I had this dream, and it was almost like I had a dinosaur, like a giant dinosaur, like Jurassic Park kind of thing, and then
hmm,
another dinosaur went like over the top, and I'm like, and I just asked my guides, my helpers, I say, hey, I didn't really get that. Can you send it back in so I can understand it? And
hmm.
when it got sent back in, it was a gecko. So they made the gecko gigantic, and I thought it was a dinosaur, but they were just trying to get a point across.
Yeah,
Um, and it was the perfect message, and it really meant something in my life at that time.
yeah.
So it's like I mean, talk to these people, ask for they're there to help you. So it's like
Oh
if you don't
yeah.
if you don't get something, ask them, you know?
That's right. You'll always be given the clarity. You just
Oh,
have to remain open.
yeah.
That's the main thing, is to remain open and to always try to stay connected. Begin your day connecting with spirit, connecting with source, so that this way you're able to have that information, because we all get information, but everyone's, like I said earlier, is not going to be privy to that information, because they might be blocking themselves because they have not either asked spirit to come in and intervene, or they just are blocking themselves where their vibration is too low to be able to receive that message at that higher level.
Yeah, sure. I think it's a great point, and it's something I beat like a dead horse. Is you you got to do this stuff every day. You got to
Yeah,
connect. It's like it's work. Okay, I'll
yeah,
call it that. It's work, but you know what? It's great work. It's like
right.
you're making your life better every single day, and the more gratitude you have, the better your life is going to get. I mean,
Yeah,
that's how it is. And it's like every day is a gift. So it's like whether you're having a bad day or a great day, well, it's better than no day. So it's like you're here to enjoy this experience and make the best of it.
that's right.
Yep. Sure, we've had this discussion before offline, but another time is this doesn't happen too often in my life, but I've actually heard spirit talk to me in like a regular voice,
Right.
and it's when this happens, it's coming from spirit.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, because it's like what I heard that, and and the biggest thing I remember in my experience was, and I didn't put this in my first book, Visual Manifestation, was about mile 24 in the marathon in the Ironman in Hawaii. I had seen like some crazy stuff that whole day. You can listen to my book, Visual Manifestation. You'll hear the whole story. But I was at that point in the marathon. Spirit said, and I was all by myself. There was nobody around me, and Spirit just said, "You created this. You created all of this." And I knew it was from God, and it was because it was just like unbelievable, right? And the
Yes,
whole thing, that
yes,
was the whole thing that got me, how I ended up writing the book.
yes.
It was basically, we are the deliberate creators of our experience, and God
That's
shared
right.
that with me. So it's just like, it came from spirit. It's like listen to the book because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's
It's a beautiful thing though. What I also would add to it is that on this plane, the third dimension, we we suffer from amnesia in the third dimension. So where you're receiving messages from spirit, like through the numbers and through dreams and things of that nature, that's beyond the third dimension. Those are like the fifth dimension, sixth dimension, things of that nature. So the thing is that, the more you evolve, the more you'll be able to, your whole world will open up to you, and you'll start to connect with that higher part of yourself, and you'll start to realize that you have inner knowledge of these things. You just forgot. But the more you work on yourself spiritually, the more you begin to remember who you are. And when you remember who you are, oh my goodness, woo, spirit will start talking to you, and you'll have knowledge and insight into things that you didn't even know you know.
Oh, that was I could not have said it any better, Sherry. The yeah, the whole amnesia thing. It's like
Yeah,
it's an agreement that you make before you come into this experience. It's like
yeah,
you can't remember past lives because if you did make that agreement in this experience, you probably spend all your time in this life trying to figure out who you were in the other lives, and that's
right,
just that doesn't suit any purpose at all because
right.
then you don't
And
grow.
and then you have some who do, like yourself, and you in your book, Peter, how you explain how you did remember your past life.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
but it had something to do with this life's mission.
Oh,
And so, that information was key for you because it knew that you would begin to teach these things.
oh,
You get see how the correlation it connects with it?
Oh yeah, I know my soul's purpose, and that's to teach this to the world. And I'm
Right,
I'm blessed and I'm grateful that I know my purpose.
right.
Because until you find what your purpose is, you kind of just bump along in life. But it's like, again, if you want to know what your purpose is, talk to your spirit helpers. They'll be
Yeah,
more than happy to hook you up
yeah.
for
And
sure.
another form of communication for me, aside from numbers, is through my writing. I write, I've been writing since I was a kid. My thoughts and my feelings and things of that nature. I never knew that spirit would actually communicate with me through my writings. And it would just tell me future events where I would be using this information to help other people. So that's another powerful way that spirit talks to us is through writing.
Wow. No, is that called automatic writing, Sherry?
Um,
Or is that something different?
I guess it's a variation of
Okay.
different kinds of writing, but I just know that I've always kept a journal. And
Okay.
I've been doing this since I was like 15 years old, keeping a journal. Um, but before I kept a journal, I used to get little notes, like little commands or little thoughts that would come in my head, and spirit would tell me to write it down.
Oh wow. Okay.
I would be with my friends and my family. It didn't matter who I was with. They would tell me to write it down. It would be very profound topics. And throughout the years, I started collecting these little pieces of paper and not realizing they were telling me it's not until I got older and wiser in my understanding. They told me that they were all parts of books. And I was like, wow, really? What book is this? And they would tell me what the book was and where it
Oh, that's
went.
awesome.
Yeah, so it's just powerful. But that was one of the gifts that was given to me was the gift of writing. They were giving me information through that. So sometimes they will come through your gifts as well. I'll use that as a portal to come through, to speak to you.
Right. And we were a writer. That was like the natural way for them to probably communicate with it as well.
Right,
You
right.
know? Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
And
that's
well, they knew that that's how I was able to channel a lot of my feelings and get a lot of things out. So they used what was natural to me to communicate to me, you know.
right.
I
That
had no
well
clue. I
that
was just doing it.
oh yeah, well, spirit always knows the best way to reach you, for sure.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Yeah, the next way we're going to talk about is a kinesthetic way of communication, and basically that's a big word for me. It's just having a gut feeling about a place or a person, and one of the
Yeah.
things for me, it's like and you'll know it. Um, I I used to call them goosebumps, right? Well, my friend Constantino calls them confirmation bumps, and
Yeah.
it's like if you're thinking something and you get goose flesh, that means it's like it is the right thing for you. You don't need to
Yeah.
question it. And I mean, this has been happening like a lot lately for me, and I'm fired up because it's like Spirit's
Yeah.
telling me great things are coming, and then
Yeah.
I'll say something, and then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, I'm onto it. Something big is coming in. I'm not sure what it
Yeah.
is, but I'm grateful. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's heavy. It's
oh,
heavy.
oh yeah, and like I remember one time actually when we were up in North Carolina for 6 months. It's like the day before we saw the house, we were able to go do a drive by, and the view was like unbelievable. It was on the edge of North Carolina, South Carolina border, and there was nothing but nature, no houses for
Mm.
50 miles. It was just
Wow.
far. It was not a state forest. It was
Mm.
incredible, and I had goose flesh all over my body. I'm like, we don't need to see another place. This is the one,
Hmm.
and it was. So it's like
Hmm.
a perfect example.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You had your feelings, your sensitivity was very strong.
oh yeah, it was just like we had other places we were thought we were gonna go check out, but we just like nah, that's it, works for me kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know what? Here's something that's really cool. Like a few, actually, like I think yesterday, I was reading. It was a it was an angel number, Sherry, and it was just like another way that information comes in is cognitive. And let me just put it this way: in the in Joanne Walmsley's angel number, she used the term knowingness.
Yeah.
I've never heard that term before, but
Hmm.
it's just like it's perfect because
Yeah.
I'm like, for example, um, my third book, Shattering the Illusion of Disease, that Sherry, that all that information came like was like a download from spirit.
Yeah.
I went to bed and I woke up and I had all this information.
And you had it.
And
Yes.
it's like I knew it came from spirit, and it was
Yes.
just like it was no. And this is something that's really wild. Was that all that information was just like channeled to me,
Right.
and we were visiting Florida by the time we lived on Colorado. This is what is, and somehow the the title of the book just came from spirit.
Yeah.
She was shattering the illusion of disease.
Yes.
Here's something that happened twice, Sherry, not once but
Mm.
twice.
Yes.
I was getting a glass to get a glass of water out of the kitchen cabinet, and all of our glasses are in the same cabinet. I took a glass out, and then all of a sudden, all the glasses, Sherry, all of them came out of the cabinet, hit the granite countertops, then hit the tile in the kitchen floor, and there was glass everywhere.
Wow.
It was like,
Wow.
and I'm like,
Ooh, talk
yeah,
about make a statement.
oh yeah, because I hadn't started writing the book. I
Mm.
just had the idea.
Yes.
Yeah, well then about
Yes.
yeah, and then about
Look at that.
yeah, 3 weeks. Get this one. 3 weeks later, it happened again.
Mm.
And I'm just like, okay, spirit,
Hmm.
I need to get off my butt and write this
Oh
book.
yeah, it's
Just,
telling you
yeah,
get on it right now.
yeah, like, in a not so subtle manner.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, so that was wild.
yes.
So
It's important to pay attention because we have no clue who's waiting for the information that will be built to us. We don't have a clue
oh yeah,
how many
exactly.
people that we can help with whatever's coming through us.
Oh
Because we
yeah.
are going to have stuff coming through us.
Oh,
We have to be open and we have to be receptive. I know for myself, um, whenever I was working on a project or something, and this has happened for a couple of years in a row for me, where I would get a vibrating vortex circular sensation in the back of my neck,
oh wow.
buzzing. I mean, buzzing like zzz. You know, like the feeling of if you touch your mouth when you're going zzz, that feeling, that vibration.
Oh,
I feel it in the back of my neck going like a circle, like a
wow.
vortex. And then it would go from the back of my neck all the way down my spine, like the Kundalini. And especially when I was thinking high thoughts or I was on to another piece of a project that I was working on, it was like they were confirming you're on it. You are right on it. You're right there. That's when it would buzz. And it would buzz for a couple of minutes at a time without stopping.
Oh,
Years.
oh yeah. That's spirit saying you are spot on.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
And that.
So
Go ahead, Terry. Sorry.
So the thing is we have to understand that we are powerful beings. We think that we're just this human being and this and that, but we are more spirit than we are anything. This body is just a vehicle that we're using, but we are more spirit.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's like we each of us is more powerful than we
And we realize
can comprehend. Exactly.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So it's like to close out. It's like it's like for everyone, be open to the communication and get these resources. Most of the like Joanne Walmsley's angel numbers; those are free. And
Yeah.
and the spirit guide book, you can get it on Kindle. It's not expensive. And once you start doing this stuff, reach out to your spirit helps and say, hey, I'm listening. Can you give me some information?
That's
And
right.
yeah,
That's right.
and you're gonna start getting it. And
Your whole life will be amazing. I like to say, for me, I live my life like a kid in a candy store because I'm always excited about what life is going to show me next. So I'm just ultra super duper excited. Also more excited to know that there's a greater me inside of me that I have yet to become acquainted with. That's what motivates me in my life, is to know that there's a greater me inside of me that I have yet to become acquainted with.
wow. Well, it's like, well, I think you're pretty cool right now. So, when the higher self beams through, I can't wait to talk to that person. Uh,
Thank you. That
hey,
was nice to say that.
okay. All right. Well, hey Sherry, thanks for being on the show tonight. I love your deep wisdom and how you make it. You really break it down to make it easy for people to understand who may not be as far down the path yet. So
Yeah,
thank you again,
my pleasure. My
and
pleasure.
yeah, and to everyone who's took the time to listen to the show, really appreciate it, and I hope you take these jewels and implement them in your life and make your life uh, as good as you possibly can. And all the best to all of you. Thanks so much.
Yes. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Sherry. Good night.